And welcome everybody. There we go. We've got 19 guys on the view counter. We've got some guys here in Discord, and you guys are all welcome. I hope you're going to enjoy the show. There isn't going to be a spectacular show, to be quite honest. We're simply going to do a flight. We're going to fly from Salzburg to Frankfurt, and the whole point is just to test and get something on a record for Zibo to have a look at. I'm not sure if Zibo is watching. If you are, welcome. If not, you'll see it later. He's busy working on the code. So the version of this aircraft is 16A. And he says that he's revised and improved the VNAV descent idle path code. But I need to note the modification legs, altitude, comma, profile is not calculated with the new code yet, whatever that means. So we're going to do our normal thing. We're gonna just fly it, and you guys are gonna have a nice chat with us all, and we're gonna exchange some jokes and banter, and we'll leave it to the boss to see if he's happy or not. If I don't know what else I can really tell you about it. It's not a major fix. I just thought while I have it, I never showed you guys a preview of version 15, and I kind of felt bad afterwards. I thought, when we've got 16, let's just put something on YouTube and you guys can just experience it with us. So anyway, Barry, I see it's almost bedtime. Yeah, you might not be here then if we start the descent, but thank you for joining us, and you can always come back and watch the end. Thank you so much for being here. There's Uncle John and Krister and David and Steve and so on. So there's Paul as well. Guys, that's about it. I haven't done anything much, so you guys are gonna just watch it with me. The only thing I did was to reload this aircraft via the developer menu just to make sure that everything works. Alright, guys on Discord, your voices are now live on stream, gents. Right, and I'm not flying online, so don't look for me. I'm not there. I'm just doing a test flight and don't want anything funny to go wrong and we don't get the right data that we need. So there's that as well. Yeah, we can start the flight leg. I hope you all had a fabulous day. You guys that have had your day yet, and you guys that haven't in the Western Hemisphere, that you guys will have a good day. Fuel 5.7. Right, and for those of you that have not heard it, here it comes.
Ground flight deck hose disconnected and starting refueling.
Alright, so we've got some voice now with the fuel truck coming. We've got one ending it.
Ground flight deck refueling terminated as requested.
And we're just going to start again, and then we'll hear him when he finishes.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome aboard.
Ice cream most of the day. You lucky fish.
More than one carry-on item, please place the smaller item underneath in front of you. We'd like to be able to accommodate everyone's carry-on bags. You don't have to check in here at the last minute. So again, please place an item
Right, let's
in
keep
front of you.
that
Good evening,
volume
welcome
up.
aboard.
And that's the route for today. Good afternoon, Cor. Right, ground services, better push back, pre-plan. Gonna go almost the same place.
Come to cockpit. Plan acknowledged. Call me through the menu when you are ready.
Let's start setting up. that sounds like a very nice. Then you can have a bit of a rest and I hope you do a bit of flying too. Hello, Yorkie. Nice to see you. Right, getting there. I'll do it as soon as I can. Maybe we can get out of here in about 5 minutes or so, just after IRSs are aligned. Weird numbers, those ones. Okay, it's a short flight, so I'm just gonna quickly, use the planned arrival information. So ILS will be 11055. And 55. We have a VOR 1142. Just in case. Give it a silly code there. Let's quickly do this FMC. Ooh, invalid entry, what do you mean? This will be funny if this is a problem. That's your... first bug, Zibo, first bug. Let it run. We'll come back to this one then.
Ground to flight deck, fuel is all loaded up and you are good to go.
According to Zibo, what he told me is it's about the VNAV descent path. He just tweaked the code a little bit because we were talking the other day. I was telling him that the aircraft doesn't slow down at 10,000 feet, and it's been happening a little while. So he asked me a couple of questions. And I said I'll test it. So I tested it again for him, and then he came back and said, okay, he'll look at it, he'll revise it a little bit. So that's where we're at. But if we can't even get the IRSs to align, we're gonna come short. We're gonna have to make a plan. We'll make a plan. Paul?
Yeah.
You wanted to say something?
On the page where you do enter the GPS coordinates,
Yeah.
it gives you a last position. Is it close to that? The one that you're trying to enter?
I did not check. Let's go back there now. Let me just quickly do this, do entries, and then we come. You know what? Deal with that. Let's go back. See you soon.
Also, a friend of mine did one spawn at the wrong airport, but I wouldn't dare mention that to you.
Yeah, no. I'm at Lowe's. Don't worry about that.
So at the top there's last position.
Yeah. Let's quickly see 47, 60, 0. Yeah, that's the same thing. Invalid entry, doesn't want it.
How odd.
Very odd. Never seen this in my life. My hope is that it will actually take it after alignment, maybe. I'm not sure. Let's see what happens, after alignment, then we can see.
Are your switches and lights looking in the right place on the overhead?
Always good to check. It appears to be. Yeah, it's on nav, so we're literally just waiting that 3 minutes. We'll find out just now. If it doesn't, then it just means we're going to. Yeah, we're gonna play around with it a little bit once we have no more options, Krister. The problem that you also need to understand is you can't just take any coordinate. It has to be within 2.5 nautical miles of the actual aircraft. Otherwise, you're going to get IRS drift and all kinds of other crap. So it's not just a question of saying, oh, well, let's just take the airport. You know, those days are over. That was one of the sim shortcuts that's floating around. But you've got to be careful with things like that. So depending on, I mean, Zibo literally only talked about the VNAV descent code. It shouldn't have killed the IRS thing, but who knows? Maybe it did. Hello, Dumper. Hello, Peter. So we'll see. We'll see. Oh yes, we was. Yeah, we didn't even do this. Let's quickly do this. Hang on. Where is this? I'm confusing myself. Inora 1A. That's correct. 7. Trolley. Right, yeah, that's all good. Yeah, it's very nice, that edition core. And we've got +6. So let's try. Let's go and see if we can get something. Well, one thing to do. Zibo. The IRS alignment does not work with 16A. Smiley face. Alright, there, well, that's done. So now let's take some of the other coordinates. Maybe we must just type it. That's another way of doing it, you know.
What if you just put the RKO in? Is that anything to do with it? Reference airport?
I'm going to try it. Krister mentioned that we are going to try that. When I look at the format, it's like the format seems different. So let's just go LOWS. I'm willing to try anything, guys. We need to sort this out. There you go. All right, so it's taken that for your reference, Zibo. Let me just let me type it to him. I had to use the airport coordinates. Another smiley face. Alright, okay, well, as long as it works, I don't really much. That's fine, Uncle John. I don't really much care at this point in time, as long as it works. So. 5.5. There we go. We've got some resemblance of alignment. So let's quickly check. Yeah, it doesn't match. It's not exactly the same. Krista, it's fine. I'm not going to split hairs about it. That's for Zibo's attention. So we're going to leave it at that. 1020. Right.
This sucks.
What sucks? What did you do?
I am currently on an approach for, or like in the star for London Heathrow.
Yeah.
But the application that I use for the charge, ChartFox from the VetSim community, says there is no example available for the charge that I use, and that is because the website where they get it from is under maintenance.
Ooh.
And that happened like within this hour.
Ouch.
Rip.
Right, okay, so I think we're ready. Trim.
Trim down.
Count the cockpit. Snow is driving up.
Before start procedure.
Before start procedure.
That was funny.
Before start procedure completed.
Weird, man.
Okay, all doors and taxis are closed. Ready to collect.
Well, I'm going in for the landing.
Yeah, enjoy.
So connected and type of spin inserted. Release parking brake.
Hold your horses.
Starting flight, and you may start engine.
Start number 2 engine.
Starting number 2 engine.
You guys are getting really creative. CPU is struggling. Brum, 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 brum. Thank you, Krister. Talk later.
25 and 2.
So guys, thank you for joining me. I see we have increased in numbers quite a bit. Thank you guys for taking the time to just come and spend time with us.
Trim down.
That's my trim wheel here, my actual physical trim wheel. Knocked it out completely. Start number 1 engine.
Starting number 1 engine.
Thank you, Linda. If you will be so kind.
Operation complete. Set parking brake. Disconnecting tow. Stand by.
Twenty-five and 2. Starter cutout. Engine start procedure completed.
Tow disconnected and pilot signal has been removed. Hand signal on the right. We'll see you next time and have a safe flight.
Let's go. You won't believe me, I touched that flipping thing again.
Taxi lights on.
Nope, this
Trim
time it
down.
worked. It didn't change. Hello, Christoph. Nice to see you. Before takeoff procedure.
Before takeoff procedure. Before takeoff procedure completed.
Excellent, I was wondering.
Flaps 5 set.
Right guys, let's go. So the test for those guys who joined late is in the VNAV descent path. So it's unfortunately going to take a while to just do the flight to get there. I just didn't want to go and do the Porto flight again because we want to do the test in a proper flight environment. So
approaching
that's the story. It's not a very long flight. I think in total the block time on this flight is an hour. So you're talking maybe 40 minutes or so in the air, 45 max, I think.
On runway 33.
But we need to test and see how the aircraft reacts in the VNAV, so we'll see. VNAV descent path, so.
Takeoff thrust set.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Hello, hello. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Good stuff. You just in time for takeoff.
Rotate.
Yeah.
Positive rate.
Gear up.
Gear up.
See you later, Christoph. Bye bye. I'm just waving at you. Gotta be so
Runway
lucky
turn off,
to stay
lights off.
there or close to an airport like this. Gaming. Chronic Gaming, not for me. I've heard of it. I know people complain about it. It doesn't happen with me. Not that I'm aware of at all ever. There's been once or twice, literally once or twice in the past where Zibo was working on the code and it oscillated, and then we also had a big problem with Active Sky or the weather at some point in time. You know, some real world weather had an influence on it. But you're welcome to go through my videos, and if you actually see something that's unnatural, you can tell me. But you also need to take into consideration that this is not a train, it doesn't ride on rails. You know, so depending on what the weather is doing, this aircraft's going to really move around a bit. So just take that into account as well.
Approaching transition.
I get some good crosswind here.
Tell you what, I only had a 4 knot wind, and if you actually look critically at my takeoff run there on that runway, you will notice that I had to use a bit of rudder because I tended to lean into it anyway, you know, even if it was just 4 knots.
Yeah, my wind is variable from north and a 5 to 10 knots. Like 5 knots with 10 knots gusts.
Gotcha.
So gotta keep my speed up.
Hello, Steel. Good morning to you here. All good, thank you. It's late afternoon here. If I start snoring, you won't know about it because I mute the mic, but you won't see me land, that's all. Other than that, all good. Yeah, it was reasonably uneventful. I had to kick the rudder slightly, but other than that, all good. Oh no, is it burning again in your valley? Ow. Still, yes, we're testing the VNAV descent path, idle descent path, so that's all. Zibo has made special mention that he's not finished with it, but he gave me this test model just to see what's happening. Sticker, don't worry. The start's not what it's about the idle descent path and the speeds and the things. And I just mentioned to the guys, as in 5 seconds ago, Zibo's not finished with the code, but I promised him I will test a 16A for him, and that's what we're doing. So we're going to keep our eye on the idle descent code.
Have you decided to have the wake up bracket auto throttle business for this flight, Nico?
No, that's on my Southwest livery. Why do you want it?
No, I was just wondering whether we're going to get something to keep my eyes peeled for.
So why don't we do that for you?
Well, we could do.
Yeah. It's on.
I'm starving. A pie and a beer maybe.
Yeah, there's a lot of fires here.
I got a landing rate of negative 203 feet per minute.
Not bad, not bad. Yeah, I know, that's it. That's what I'm showing the guys now. This is crazy. So who sets these things alight? Is it supposed to be a control burn that goes out of control, or is it now people that are actually, walking around starting the fires, maliciously? I mean, why do you have so many fires? Mix.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Hello, Martin.
How goes it?
All good, thank you. What do you mean, no? Yeah, you lost me. Talking to Steel on the street, guys. Okay. Of course, Dimitri. Of course. Well, yeah, Steel, that does not help, eh? Good question. How close to the fires are you, Steel? No, that's the last thing I wanted. That is now the last thing I wanted. And that started now from yesterday. Vulkan device error loss. Okay, gents, hold on to your socks. I'm going to kill it. And I'm going to quickly try restart the sim and pick up where we left off. We'll use the auto recovery file save thing, flight save. If X-Plane will just bomb out now and get it over with. I know it's hanging and hanging and hanging. Come on. No, 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 no. We're not going to abandon the stream. We're going to restart immediately. We just need to end task this thing. We'll end task Linda as well. Right, the speech recognition at least. And then what we're going to do is we are quickly going to restart and kill that.
Positive rate. Approaching transition. Transition altitude. TARA mode set. Stabilized.
Yeah, still, I must admit, we were just talking about it yesterday or the day before here on Discord. This was probably one of the coolest, most valuable flight simming tools that Zibo could ever have put in here for us. Right, well, I'm happy. See, now we can just continue where we were, and that's it, the end of story. Okay, now, when I press 4, let's see if it happens again, because, okay, hang on, let's be clever about it. Okay, so it didn't happen there again. Right, let's look at the weather. And let's do it properly now. So where is my charts? Let's look at ILS. Right, we have a transition altitude of 5,000. So what we're going to do is we're going to go for flight level 065 just to give us a little bit of room. We're going to do the 200 again. 150 100. Then hello Antonio. For the guys that have not been following me all that long, you would have missed this because at some point in time Dan built it into STKP on my request, so we stopped using this little tool, but it is available in my private hangar and the link is in the notes below the video. So if you want to get the ISA over there, the best way to get it is going to be to read it off the chart. So the airport elevation, where is it? 364, and the current temperature is now 27, and that gives us ISA deviation of 12. So we have 12 and the QNH 1019, and then we can go back to the OFB and actually read the rest of the information. Oh, I don't think I've added Swift to the display yet. Let's see. There we go. Four and 3, 266 and 4. Oh no, no, Mr. Escobar is definitely still here. I don't hear him that often anymore, so I'm not sure if Zibo tweaked the code a bit, but he's definitely still around. Right, so that takes care of that page for us. Let's have a look, see. TD is still a way off, so there's 4.2 tons of fuel that we have. We'll be at 3.1, so we're talking 1.1 ton we need to drop, so that'll be 65.6, and that'll be the V speed. And the next thing is then check all the charts again for all the rest. So reset. Need to get the view back. Alright, we need to have 067 as a course heading. 67. Oh, come on. 67. And we're going to move that away. Okay, what does the chart say? The chart also states that our go around altitude will be 5,000, so we're going to keep that in mind. It also states that we need to go down to 4,000 for the intercept, so let's do that. 4,000, there we go. Alright, and just for my own sake, 1019 will be the standby. Oops. 1019 standby altimeter. And then if we go back to edge, Cat 1 decision altitude 529. Right, we set the ILS earlier. Let's just double check after the reload that it is set. So ILS 11055, 11055. And for reference 11420 on the BOR. That's perfect. Alright, so we are ready for the descent, guys. Might as well save a flight here, just for good measure. And then we're going to just keep our eye on any and everything that happens during the descent. And we'll have to get some other view so Zibo can see what's spotting. I think right, that's a better view because we need to get everything. Everyone on share. Hope you guys can read all of that. Yeah, yes, I suppose in this regard, the speed we're going to definitely have a look at. My big story, which I think he was alluding to, was the complaint we had and we discussed the other day about the aircraft not slowing down at 10,000. So we'll have a look see. I have no idea how far and how wide he rewrote this VNAV code and what he fixed or not. So I just know we're gonna have a look at the whole thing. Oh yes, Paul, and you know what? Because of that reload, that other thing is off again. So let me go switch it on.
Oh, well remembered.
Yeah, so let's actually just save it in case. Yeah, I like simple terms. I can live with simple terms, yeah. That's too much. There we go. Just want to get as much as possible of this in there. Yeah, let's see what happens. Slicker, I don't think it's very far incorrect. I think it's plausible. I have not checked the difference between the two, so in all honesty, I can't really guess right now. I don't know. I'll have to actually physically check them. Let's quickly go to the... What's his name? To zoom in again. Let's see. I don't see the actual deviation for the arrival runway or the arrival airport in SimBrief. Does it actually specify that? Do you know? Or are you just using the last known one or the average one that's at the top right hand corner? Because then it's obviously not going to be correct at all.
Out of interest, what is the average ISA for this?
6. It's 2 degrees out, but he says it's not just a coincidence.
Mm-hmm.
Mattia, the only change that we're looking at right now is the VNAV idle descent path. We want to see what happens with that. Zibo made a big note here for me that he has not finished the code. So this is like a real preliminary test run. We just want to see the basics. Yeah, you see, that's the average. Now, in this flight, it just happens to be 2 degrees different. So it might be a coincidence, Slicker. I won't use that for the ISA, because the ISA that's talked about in that specific place on the FMC is about the actual arrival airport. It's the arrival airport QNH, and it's the arrival airport ISA. That's why I made this, just to make sure that we have, some other calculator. And like I said, that's when me and Dan got together with Sim Toolkit Pro and we started talking about it, and he was gracious enough. He added the this calculator as well as density altitude in there quick, one day while we were talking, because those are kind of important things when you fly. Right, while it is descending, I'm just going to quickly show you guys another tool that I'm not sure you guys are familiar with, but it is a nice tool to have if you don't have STKP. So my first recommendation would be get STKP because it's got everything built in. But if you don't, then there's this little tool, this little utility, Virtual AWAS, which actually gives you a whole bunch of stuff. The only thing that is not in here is the ISA, but at least this one gives you density, altitude, gives you all kinds of other fancy things. This is a great tool for the online ATC guys. When I still used to do ATC, this was, a very big go-to. Right, I'm ringing. I'll be back. Nope, it was just spam. And they keep on trying. Can you believe it?
$1,000 to level off.
So the bottom of the bracket on the speed tips where the auto throttle throttle comes back. Yeah.
And I noticed that there it was really nicely timed. It just started to push forward quick.
Didn't it used to be 15 knots below? That seems a bit closer.
Yeah, in normal FCOM, I think it's 15
Right.
knots the guys talk about there for it to come back up. So far it's looking nice. By the way, gents, I managed to restart my 8 cars as well, so I'm really chuffed. Looking nice. Christoph, yes it is. It came in with version 15, I think, like a version ago. It's an option in the EFB that you can switch on and off.
1000 to level off.
If you go into our Discord in the Zibo chat room, you'll see, just scroll up a little bit, there was a whole discussion about it. Nice.
1000 to level off.
Increase there on the N1 immediately as it gets closer to that line. You just gotta love this aircraft, tell you.
That looks like 5 knots then, doesn't it?
Approximately, yeah. It's much more refined than before. Definitely more.
Yeah. Awesome, Steel. Glad you noticed. You know what's funny when we test these things? I usually have 1 or 2 specific things, or 3 or 4 specific things to look at. You know, and I sit here with like little tunnel vision, you know, just focusing on these things, that you don't always see the other things, and that's why it's nice having Paul and Mac and the other guys here sometimes, you know, to just help watch, because I mean, when I'm focused on something, I don't necessarily see the other things, and I reckon, you know, it's the same when you just normally fly. You don't necessarily go and weigh up every single parameter and every single, you know, display option and thing that's busy turning and changing and things. So it's nice to get focused sometime and then have somebody pop up and say, oh, did you see that?
What does Max say? Oh, right. And Bull goes, wahaha. Hey, Bull. It's amazing. Wahaha. Okay, the one thing that I am noticing is that we are not following VNAV path at this time. Why not? We lost it somewhere. You see, it's still on and all, but I mean, we are way below it. Way below it.
What's the restriction coming up? Is it having to calculate that in the mix?
Probably. Let's have a look, see if there is one. Let's have a look, see.
You've got 110 there. Next waypoint.
Yeah, it's 110, correct. Yeah, that is the next one. So it could be that that is due to the calculations that it's busy doing, that it's changed the actual VNAV path. So overall it's in the right place, but for the actual it just looks a bit weird, but anyway. Yeah, no, there's definitely a 110 coming up there, and you can also see it on the ND. You saw it before me, you see. I was so focused on the chart looking away. I didn't look at that even until now. And there's the little diamond coming again. The previous restriction was below 14.5, above 13.5. You know, so, and then it obviously changed, and that's where the recalculation came in. The fact that it's back on track tells me that there's a bigger picture behind the scenes. I will not mention any names, but I was flying a different aircraft the other day, and that thing couldn't keep VNAV to save its life. It was crazy.
1000 to level off.
Okay. Do we have any decel points coming up?
I do not see any. I don't see any.
1000 to level off.
So let's see what it's going to do at 10,000 now, or on its way to 10,000, because we're getting close. And we have no more restrictions. Well, there we go. We're at the waypoint, and we had to be at 11, and we've just crossed it.
1000 to level off.
So from now on, at some point in time, we're gonna have a bit of a descent again, and somewhere in this mix, we're gonna have those two dots, if not. Let's see. Hold a second. Let's just zoom a little bit. There are dots over there. I wonder if that might not be the dots. It's just, I mean, it just looks very far away, but those could be the deceleration points.
What does it say on the legs page, Nico?
I'm
Are we
on my
flying
way.
level? Are we flying level for a long way, or?
I don't know. We are on our way to check. Oh.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. Yes, we are. We are going to fly for quite some time. And there we have the deceleration points. So you are spot on. There we have the top of descent for the
Takeoff
flight
is
level
okay
110,
today.
and there's decel.
1000 to level off.
Ah.
Well, we've got the two deceleration points there, and in the turn we're going to pick up the decel. So yeah, it's just further along the way. But we're going to fly 11 for a while.
It just felt so far ahead, but this machine's clever. It can do this, I'm sure.
Yeah, there must be some peculiarity about the airspace around here.
If you look at the chart over here, where is it? Oh,
1000 to level off.
Do that. Hey John, if you look at this chart, look how far you have to go out before you get vectors to come back. So our top of descent is somewhere there. Then you've got the deceleration points. Then you're turning, and then you have the additional deceleration point for the intercept there. Yep, interesting.
So is it one of those situations where ATC can give you a shortcut at any time across those parallels?
Yeah, probably.
And if they're all at 110, it's not going to make it any more or less steep than you thought it was going to be.
Exactly.
To level off. To level off.
I don't know what she's on about, guys. Forgive her. She's only trying to help, I suppose. Yeah, still, that's a good plan. Thank you. Good story. Johan, we are not even gonna think about anything like that. The only thing we are concerned about right now is just idle descent path. Let's see what happens.
1000 to level off. I love to fly.
Hello Giovanni, good day, welcome.
Thousand to level off.
So we have the top of descent at temporary 1, and then we have the first deceleration point. So we're going to be very close. Let's see what it does. There we go. It's pulling down. There's the dip. The slow down. Look how it's stepping. It's so cool, eh? Slicker, I've mentioned it about 3 or 4 times, but you are correct. I don't necessarily look at the amount of guys, so thank you for that reminder. So guys, what we are looking for is basically the slowdown in speed. One of the things I discussed with Zibo over the last few days is the fact that the aircraft doesn't slow below 250 knots, below 10,000. And if you look at what he's done with this version now, this is 16A. You guys can see it. It's brilliant. How's that, Paul?
Spot on.
That was lovely. That was lovely. So depending on what happens now it's up to the pilot to just keep the speed intact. I like it, Sleeker. It's not a problem. I like it because I tend to be focused, and it's nice to get a nudge every now and then quickly. But I mean, that's as spot on as you can want to get, eh? I'm happy. That really looks good. So Zibo says he's not done with this code. This is only 16A. He's probably going to go to B and C and then release it again. You know, I love the way he works. So we'll keep, you know, pushing it, taking it to the next level, testing it. I do apologize for not showing you guys version 15 before it got released. The guys on Discord obviously saw it and so on, but you know, that's why I came to YouTube today, to show you guys 16 at least. You know, so as we continue testing it, when I've got a chance, I'll just stream it again and you guys can follow along. Yeah, this is brilliant. It feels like we've got control over the speed again, eh? Really nice.
Approaching transition.
Absolutely, Steel, absolutely. You've just got to be careful that you don't overdo it as well. Remember, this is not a train, it's not driving on rails. So depending on what happens with the atmospherics, your weather, winds, gusts, all these kind of things, as well as the glide slope that you are flying on, or the glide path actually that you're flying on. You know, you don't want to overdo it and take away the realism of an aircraft that still needs to be flown and needs to be under your control, you know, so just bear that in mind. Just my extra 2 cents there. Hello, Tommy.
Transition level.
About 30 miles from you can't use the DME on the VOR, it's too far behind this airport, it's not useful. Yeah, about 30 miles I'm guessing if I look at the arc there, so yeah, I think it's a great improvement. I mean, it was noticeable that the aircraft didn't slow down at 250 knots for quite some time now, you know. And just as a matter of interest, you guys are aware that if you go to the forecast page, transition level for your information is recommended. Please put it in. But the QNH on even if you leave everything off of this page, it's all nice to have. But if you leave everything off, that is the one thing that you have to have in here, because the Zibo mod does take that into account to calculate your VNAV path. Alright, so guys, please, you know, learn a lesson today. If you haven't heard of it today, make sure you have your QNH in, because that will also determine your VNAV path very, very definitely. Hello HD simulation, all good, all good. We're busy testing VNAV descent path, and so far we are happy. Antonio, I've tested that personally a few times. It does, but also remember now that would be in a different version of the VNAV code. We haven't tested it with this version of the VNAV code, you know. So yes, Giovanni. So yeah, it's a dynamic thing, you know. As the Zibo mod evolves, Zibo changes the code, we'll test more and we'll take it further. So now we're roughly about 20 miles it seems, so there we go. In plane, I am in the Zibo development team. I am not a coder. Zibo is the coder, and Yeri is the modeler. I do all kinds of other things, including what you see right now. But I'm very definitely part of the team, and have been for a long time. Antonio, I'm not using IVEA weather. I'm actually using Active Sky weather. Whether I fly online or offline, it doesn't matter. So I'm not familiar with the IVEA weather at this point in time. If they actually still have it, I don't know. But yeah, I use Active Sky weather. As I typed for you the other day, I'm using VNAV Alt as on. Let's quickly have a look while we have a moment.
Now I need to quickly remember where to put that. Where did we put that? Can't remember everything. You know what? Let's. I'm trying to help, but I might not be helpful at this point in time. Let's leave it. When we get down, I'll show you Slicker 55. I'll show you. I'm also just remember exactly where it is. So the first answer is yes, and the second answer is no. So it's like I typed for you there in the Google the YouTube answer the other day. So we can have a look just now. Right, approach on.
Capture. Glide slope capture. Flaps 5 set.
What is VRF? Okay, 54. In plane, I have someone that actually custom makes it for me because it puts my name and stuff on there. So it's custom made. If you go to the org, Jared Thornton, one of our Zibo pilot group members, he's actually running the project. And it's him who made my custom thing. You can get almost any airline customization from him on the org. He's got a whole list of things there that he did.
2500.
Flaps 15
Looks
set.
like Linda's caught up a little bit, so it's fine. The speed tape definitely reacts to gusts. You can trust me. It does.
30 set.
It will also show you all the relevant wind information there. You can see when that thing starts to travel left and right. It's all over the show. And the Zibo Twixter made it to use it beautifully. You will know when you're in that situation. I'm not sure if he's made a mango one, to be quite honest. I have got Sierra Juliet Alpha in a livery, and now that you mention it, I must actually go look. Exactly, but in the Zibo mod, you can't just use VRF plus 5. You actually have to use the calculation. So you have to use your half of your wind component plus gust component calculation to actually make it work in the Zibo. I mean, this thing is super real. You've got to really work it. So just be careful with that.
Approaching 07 center.
Right, and we need 5,000 there. I actually forgot to set the 5,000 there.
400. 300. Approaching minimum 200. Minimums 100. 50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
Reverse unlocked. Speed brake up. 80 knots. Throttle hold. Auto brake in use.
go.
Brilliant
Welcome
landing.
to Frankfurt, guys.
Nice one, sir.
After landing procedure.
After landing procedure.
Right, so while we are here, one thing at a time. Let's just
After landing
start
procedure
APU.
completed.
Let's quickly have a look, see. Must be somewhere in there. Systems. Flight, there we go.
Flaps up.
Right,
And
so
set.
for the takeoff, I don't use heading select. For VNAV Alt installed is yes, and then VNAV Alt hold is set to no because I want VNAV Alt to be in use. So no for VNAV Alt. Alt hold would be yes. So I hope that answers your question, Slicker. So that's my settings. What I need to do, Uncle John asked me yesterday already. Once everything is, let's say, stable, I'm going to take some more screenshots. If you guys want to see the settings that I use, just go to my private hangar Google Drive, and you'll see in there all the screenshots are there of all my settings, the way I operate the aircraft. It's obviously, you know, based on our SOPs and things we have here and that I'm used to from the airline I was associated with. So you guys can either copy that or make your own ones. I've gone so far as I've got a Southwest aircraft set up. I've got a you know, Ryanair one set up, you know, and I've got this aircraft that basically has got all the bells and whistles. You know, our local aircraft here in South Africa don't even have all the stuff this thing's got in now, so I've got to be careful what I put in and what not. I made myself Sierra Juliet Alpha as well from Mango, so because I know it, I've been in that cockpit a few times, and you know, so it's been set. So you guys can do the same or just follow what I have. About the approach speed, are you using Zibo calculated that for you with proper QNH, or do you calculate it yourself? Well, if you watch the video, you'll see exactly what I do. The only time I will change that VREF plus 5 is when there's a wind issue. You understand, when there's gusts and things that are out of the ordinary, and I've done it plenty of times on live streams, you know, and you know, Sasso has been in and out here with us, you know, giving us the real world perspective. But in terms of the approach and everything, I personally do not use this performance for the landing thing. Oh, there, I've got plenty of stars. Let's see, landing also. Ooh. See, I mean, if you want to, you can obviously use this, and then depending on what weather you guys are experiencing, the winds, specifically with gusts and stuff, you can obviously add here. I have done streams where we have had to literally add maximum, and that's the plus 20. You can't add more than 20 knots. Can any of you guys remember if it was actually Manchester or which airport it was the other day where we had to add the 20? Anybody?
Sorry, no.
Okay. It happened, you know. That's the one and only time in my whole life I've ever had to add 20 because the wind was crazy. But yeah, it happened. Okay, so all in all, I think this was a very successful test. So let's go to put that away. That comes down. All the switches. There we go. Let's go find a parking. Antonia, it's a pleasure. I'm still sorry that I didn't do the one for version 15. I should have done it here on stream, but I did it for the guys on Discord. So anyway, I'll try and do more as I get them. I'll try and do more for you guys here on YouTube, and then you can follow with. In plain, no, I don't use VATSIM. I keep my account going, but we've got an agreement with IVAO that we use the IVAO network.
Can I answer Slicker's question there, Nico?
Oh, yeah. I'm not concentrating on it. Go for it.
Yeah, the wind correction is half the headwind component, but never less than 5 knots. And on top of that, you add the full gust. So if it's, let's say, 20 knots gusting 30 coming straight at you, half of the steady speed would be 10, and then you would add the full gust. So that's the difference between the steady speed and the gust speed. So that'd be another 10. So you would add 20, but never more than that, because what you don't want to do is exceed the flap speed that's on the placard below the gear lever. You don't want to snap wings off, flaps off.
Yeah, this is what he's talking about over there. Yeah, so the maximum that you can add in that VRF Plus will be 20. It comes from there. Thank you, Paul. Much appreciated. Thanks for fielding that one for me. All right, gentlemen, for those of you that are not aware, and for those of you that might be new or a bit rusty and you need some guidance, if you go to the forum, the Zibo forum, and you go to my official page in that forum, you'll see I made a training checklist. Now, I call it a training checklist, but it's very comprehensive and in-depth, and you'll find typically these kind of formulas and things in there. Twixter helped me. He's put a lot of effort into that as well, and we tried to give you guys, you know, some baseline, some foundation of flying the aircraft. Okay, some of it obviously is now SOP based, what I'm used to, some of it what he's used to. You know, if you've got a different SOP, you know, we're not in the game of saying right and wrong. There's no such thing as right and wrong to a certain extent. So if you guys want, you know, the nitty-gritty things, all these new things. Also, for those of you that are not aware, for instance, when I load the aircraft, I always change the cargo values, because by default the Zibo is the code is written to give you a stable takeoff CG, but not so much a stable landing CG. And obviously this is all covered in the documentation. You can just read it and you can then figure out how to make this thing work for you. Now, we don't have the landing CG there because it's over, but there's a whole description of what happens on the left, what happens on the right, and how to move these kind of things. So you know, even if you don't use that whole document of 30-40 pages, because it's a very comprehensive thing, that's going to give you a lot of things that you can maybe just snapshot out of there, put somewhere in your own notes, you know, just FYI, go have a look. And thank you, HD. Thank you, Giovanni. Thank you, Slicker. Yorkie, man, Antonio, in plane, everybody else's names I'm not mentioning. I'm just not scrolling up to see everybody's names. Thank you guys for watching, all 30 plus guys on stream, and also the guys here on Discord. Thank you so much. I love what I see. Zibo, thank you so much for the effort, and we'll chat to you guys again soon. I hope you have a good rest of your day. Bye bye. You guys are all welcome.